Today I'm going to show you how I turned Harry's house into a planet. I've already created a blank canvas and I've downloaded an image of the Harry's house album cover. So I'm just going to import that and resize it so that it covers my entire canvas. You can choose any image you want of a celebrity, your friends, your family, or an image you get off Google. The more colorful, the better. Now for the fun part. Open the adjustments menu and tap liquefy. Set the mode to twirl right and turn size, pressure, and momentum all the way up and turn distortion down. Now just gently tap the image and just swirl it all around. You want to try and mix the colors up because this is going to be the base of your planet. Turn the distortion up to about 85% and twirl the image around again just to mix up the colors even more. Keeping the same settings, I'm going to change the liquefy mode to push. And I'm just going to gently move the colors around the canvas and try and bring out some of the colors that you can't see. You can see there's some blue there. I'm just going to push it so that it is a little bit more visible and prominent in my planet background. The last thing I'm going to do on liquefy is change my mode to crystals, and I'm just going to run my Apple Pencil all along the canvas, and it gives you that nice texture that kind of makes it look a little bit more like a planet. Now let's actually create our planet. I'm going to grab the monoline brush in black and I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to tap with one finger on the other hand to create a perfect circle. I'm just going to resize it a bit so it covers as much of the canvas as possible without going off the canvas. And I'm going to fill it in with black. And then I'm just going to move the layers around. So I'm going to take the background layer and I'm going to move it on top of my circle. And I'm going to tap that background layer and tap clipping mask. As an extra step that is completely optional, I like to use the warp tool to bring in the edges of the background we created so that they fully cover the circle. I always like to try and get in all of the colors that we created in our background. This planet looks a little bit flat to me, so to add some highlighting and shading, I'm going to add a new layer, turn on clipping mask, and make sure my color is black, but I'm going to use the monoline brush, although I am going to duplicate it and edit it just a little bit. I'm going to go to properties and turn up maximum size so that the monoline brush is just a little bit bigger. And on one side of the planet, I'm just going to sweep, oh, that's a bit too big. I'm going to color the edge black to give it a little bit more depth. I'm going to change the color to white, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. I'm going to open the adjustments menu, tap Gaussian blur, and I'm going to set that to about 25%. I really like that, but again, as an optional step, I like to add a little bit more highlighting, so I'm going to add another layer, also set that to clipping mask, and just add a little white dot on the dark side of the planet. Again, Gaussian blurring that and setting that to about 25%. I think that's starting to look really good. So for this next step, I like to merge all of the layers we've already created together. So I'm going to do that by just pinching them, all 4 layers, and now they're one planet layer. And I'm going to add a background. So I know that I want a black background as my base. So I'm going to add a new layer, drag it underneath my planet, change the color to black, and I'm just going to fill in that background layer at the bottom over there. We have a planet in the night sky, but I'm going to reposition it a little bit. So I'm just going to decrease the size, rotate it a little bit, move it to the side, and I'm also going to center it in the middle of the canvas. As a last step, I want to add some glowing light behind the planet. To do that, I'm going to duplicate the planet layer and I'm going to turn on alpha lock. I'm then going to choose a white color and I'm going to say fill layer. I'm going to turn off alpha lock. And then I'm going to Gaussian blur this layer again to 25%. Honestly, this will also depend on what you prefer and the size of your canvas. And that's it for the planet. Now you can choose to add some details to your background, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm first going to merge our 2 planet layers together so that, again, there's only one layer for our planet. And I'm going to add a new layer in between the background and our planet layer. For this next step, I'm going to be using my Galaxy brushes. If you don't have those and don't want to buy them, you can use the Luminance brush set instead. That comes with Procreate when you install it. I'll add the free brush alternatives on the screen as we go along. To start creating my Galaxy background, I'm going to choose the color changing Nebula brush, and I'm going to select a purple from my Intergalactic palette, and I'm going to take the Apple Pencil and lightly sweep it across my canvas to give it a little bit of a purple glow. I'm then going to pick a teal color from the same palette, and I'm going to use my color changing Galaxy dust brush and add a few blue highlights. I think it works really well with the purple. You can choose any different colors. If you press a little bit too hard with these brushes, you'll see it turns a little bit white, so you have to be really gentle. I'm going to switch to this burnt orange color and choose the Galaxy brush just to add in some highlights. I'm going to turn the size down a little bit, but this gives the background a little bit more dimension, almost as if there's like a galaxy or dust storm in the background. I really like playing with the different light effects of these brushes. To add in some texture, I'm going to choose a white, almost light color, and I'm going to use my Stardust 3 brush at about 35% and my Constellation 2 brush at about 30%, just to add in some texture and to look as if there are some stars in our galaxy. This brush set has 4 different Stardust brushes and 5 different Constellation brushes, and you can use them at various sizes to create the texture you want. I also want to add a light flare, so for this particular tutorial I'm using the flare brush at 100%, also with a light color, and I'm tapping it just on the edge of my canvas. I also like adding some individual stars to my background, so for this I like to use the star flare and glow pen brushes just to dot some individual stars around my galaxy. I really like how this background has turned out, but as one final touch, I always like adding in some shooting stars. So I'm going to use my Comet pen, again with a very light color, turn down the size a little bit, and add in a few little shooting stars. And that is it. You've successfully turned Harry's house, or whatever image you've decided to use, into a planet. The link to the Galaxy brushes are in the description below or on my website, jacelyn.art. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Tag me on social media if you recreate this for yourself, and subscribe if you want more Procreate videos and tutorials. I'll see you in the next one.